This is an old motion sensor hooked up to my alarm system that no longer functions properly. So I'm going to replace it today. Now this video is going to be a somewhat instructional video. There's not too much to really know here, except to pretty much just have a good understanding of wiring things in general. If that's not your forte, then you're probably better off getting your alarm guy in to take care of this problem for you. I've purchased a replacement motion sensor. I just picked up this standard Honeywell Aurora PetImmune PIR motion sensor. It comes with a little pamphlet here that says what everything does. There's a couple of features and functions. I have it all taken out of the thing there. You want to basically read through this and find out what it says. Here are your wiring connections here. Basically 2 power and 2 of your protective loop from the system itself. Here is an Ademco Vista 20 SE. Everything is already wired, everything is working perfectly, it's just the sensor that went bad. So the wire's already there, and there's not much else to do except to disconnect the 4 wires here and hook them up to the new one. If only, of course, it were that easy. A few things you need to know. One is when you take this apart and the covers just pry apart, here's the top part here that just goes on there, and that's what it would look like on the wall or wherever you mount it. This is the circuit board on the inside there. That is the sensor. And you can see this thing is much smaller than the old one, which has got to be 10, 15 years old. You have to punch out all of the holes that you're going to use. So I'm going to use the top one, maybe the bottom one, to put a screw in to mount it. And that hole there is for the wire to come in. There's a little track here, so the wire can just go right over here and run in over there like that. Use a drill bit just to screw, or my favorite, an old soldering iron that you don't really solder with, melts plastic, no trouble whatsoever, and that did a fine job of opening up those holes. The next thing is, you're immediately going to want to take this thing out and figure out how everything gets wired in that. But if you look very carefully on the sides here, there's little fingers or notches, and where you put that back in the back cover is going to depend on the sensitivity of it, and it shows you a diagram of the different notches. I'm going to put it on setting 3. It says Pet Immunity, mount at 7 feet, notch 3 only. That's what I need because I have 2 of the little furry felines running around, so I need to make sure they don't set off the alarm. You also need to set jumpers on the board here. The jumper on the left, as you see, is just on that 3rd pin, not connected to anything else. That's the position it needs to be in for pet immunity. Otherwise you could do like a high range and a low range. And the other one here is the LED inside to enable and disable it. The LED is right here, so that jumper, if you set it, because right now, again, that is not connected to anything, as you can tell. If you set that, then the LED will not operate. Here's the back of the board here, and really it's pretty easy. Positive, negative, R and R. Well, positive and negative are going to be for polarity from the power from the alarm panel, and the R and R are going to be the protective loop that's there, and that doesn't matter which way that gets hooked up. The way these work is you just unscrew the screws in there, stick the wire in the hole, and then you can tighten the screw back down. Okay, so here's the old one. It's still wired here, and as you can see, there is a red, a black, which the light, it's very hard to see, but it's right here, a yellow and a green. So I'm just going to probe the black and the red, and I'm going to use my meter leads with the same colors for the right polarity, and the meter will then tell you if you have everything set properly and that you have voltage there. Here's the meter here. We're getting, if I can just get a good connection on it, 13, there we are, 13.06, and there's no minus sign in front of it, so that means it's the correct polarity. So red is going to be the positive, and black is going to be the negative. The other two, the yellow and the green, are just the protective loop, so it doesn't matter which way. Obviously, I'll just keep everything the same there. So pretty much all you do now is shut the alarm system down, remove all power, disconnect the wires, hook it up to the new one, and then mount it up. Okay, so I have disconnected the 4 wires. We've already metered them, and we know the red and black are the power, and the yellow and green here are the protected loop, and obviously we just obey polarity. To take this one out, I don't know what kind this one was, you just lift this tab up and the whole circuit board pulls out. This is mounted with 1 screw because that's how it happened to fit here. I guess another screw could have gone, but then it would sit crooked, so I guess that's why it was like that. Now I'll just take this out. And now we just pull the wires out of it carefully. That. I don't have the screw out. There we are. And now we're ready to wire in the new one. And like I showed you before, we have positive, negative in the protected loop. So we just hook up red, black, yellow, and green. That's all there is to it. And you can do that, but before you do that, you want to feed the wire through the back cover here. So you may wish to run the wire in first and even mount it with a screw before you go ahead and wire that up. That way the wires will be inside of this ready to go for you to snap the front cover on. Okay, here's the positive here. You just unscrew that, stick the wire in the hole that's there, just like that. Kind of just hold it in place best you can. And tighten it down. And you'll see the wires in there. I'm going to hook up the other 3 now. The wires are connected, and if you look very closely here, you can see the little notches and how that white bar is in the 3rd one. And same thing here on this side for what you can see. And now that's mounted up. So now we kind of just mash the wires back in here and put the cover on. It's now installed. Now we get to power up the alarm panel. Okay, it says busy standby, D1, diagnostic 1. Again, this is a Vista 20 SE panel. This usually takes about a minute or so, and then they say that the motion detector, which is sensing motion for some reason at this moment, takes about 2 minutes for it to warm up. So we'll just wait until everything settles down. So a moment later, the red light has gone out. We don't show any codes. And now I'm going to wave my hand in front of it or move so the light goes on. And there you go. Fault 07 basement motion. Now we'll give it a quick test and see what happens. So I'm going to put it in test mode. I have to enter my code for a moment. And test. The siren will fire for a moment. It's now in test mode. And now when I move, this should go ding, ding, ding as soon as it detects me. There we go. Perfect. Now it works. Let's give it one final test now. I'm going to go ahead and arm the system. So I can just do a quick arm. Right now it doesn't matter if the motion sensors sense anything. So I'm going to wait till that sets, and then we will walk in here and see if we can set the alarm off. Okay, the alarm is now set, and if I walk in here, there we go. And now you can enter the code again to clear that. And there we are. Everything is ready once again. It'll show if I open the slider here that it's not ready. And if you hit star, it should show zone 4, which is this, like that. I'll also re-enable the chime. So now it says chime. Open the door, and everything works. Noticed before that it said zone 3. That was actually the motion sensor in the living room as well. Also, I should have mentioned earlier, but I have disconnected the telephone line from this, which is what it uses to alert the alarm company, so that way when it goes to call out, it won't, because obviously it's disconnected from the phone line. Alarm panel box, of course, locks and all that kind of good stuff as well. So there you go. That's replacing a motion sensor on an Ademco Vista 20 SE alarm. This again was pre-wired because there was one here that went bad, and now it's replaced. It's very simple and very straightforward. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you out, make sure you consider clicking the like and subscribe buttons, because that lets me know I did a good job making this video and I can continue to provide them for you. Have a good day.